Van Jones came out with an apology after he said that, after he said those heinous words on the Bill Maher show, you know, making a joke about Israel's genocide of Palestinian babies. Like he openly expressed in perhaps the most callous ways that Israel was killing babies, but that it was actually not the act of the killing of babies that was making people angry. It was the fact that people were seeing it on their timelines. Why were they seeing it on their timelines? Because of Qatar and Iran. That was the argument that he presented on the Bill Maher show, where he callously stated, dead baby, dead baby, dead baby, Diddy, to thunderous applause and laughter and claps in that room to speak on how Israel had lost its popular standing in the United States of America. But then Van Jones turned around and said, yeah, I messed up on this one. Here, if you want to see the video, let's watch it again. Van Jones warns of Iran and Qatar's social media campaign.
Isn't part of that because we had to fold everything into critical race theory, and somehow the Middle East became part of,
like, everyone is expressing their own personal pet project here. Bill Maher is saying, oh, it's because of DEI and critical race theory. Okay. And Van Jones has to retaliate because he's supposed to defend that. That's like obviously that's a liberal position, and he still has to maintain his like liberal bona fides, right? So he turns around and goes like, oh no, it's not a DEI thing.
I see it differently. And I love this conversation because I think people, those of us who went to college, give a lot more credit to college courses for how the world works than I do. This is not about critical race theory on college campuses. This is about Iran. Iran and Qatar have come up with a disinformation campaign that they are running through TikTok and Instagram that is massive. If you are a young person, you open up your phone and all you see is dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, right. Diddy, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby. That's basically...
Remember, who killed the babies? Who killed the children in Gaza? Who? Was it Iran and Qatar that killed the children in Gaza and then made it seem as though Israel was killing them? Why are people seeing the mutilated flesh of children with regular frequency and going, oh my God, this is demonic? The fact that like a government is doing this and the fact that our government is actually defending it and supporting it materially is unacceptable. This is not about Iran or Qatar. The audience is so stupid. They're just laughing at the Diddy part because sex crime, gay, funny. No, I know. Well, they're also a paid audience. You have to remember. Okay. So like there is no world. Can you imagine? The Holocaust is seen as an atrocity because of paid Jewish media. Okay. It's seen as an atrocity because of paid Jewish actors that make you look at dead children, dead Jewish children. Like if you were to say something like that, you would not have a CNN job. Okay. You would not. You would never be able to retain a serious CNN job ever again. You would be correctly seen as a Nazi. You wouldn't just have a CNN job. In previous years, you probably would have no job at all. Nowadays, you can probably get an independent media job after saying something like that, as many independent media figures do say things like that. Okay. But of course, when you say this about Palestinian children, it doesn't fucking matter. So should we never explain things? If people are going to clip and lie, they were already lying and planning anyway. What are you talking about? Oh, are you responding to the chatters who are saying, oh no, that's going to get clipped out of context? Yeah, I know. I don't give a shit what people say. They already clip me out of context all the time. It's completely ridiculous. It is completely unacceptable. Adam Johnson also points out the ridiculous nature of this. The most underrated, sinister part of Van Jones making light of dead Gaza babies is he was doing so in a comment defending DEI. Elon already retweeted the clip from. What are you talking about, dude? the cognitive dissonance energy required for progressive accept Palestine rhetoric in the coming years is going to rip a hole in space-time. Progressive accept Palestine used to be a relatively easy position to abide by because of the concerted effort from advocacy groups. Nowadays, it's virtually impossible to maintain that perspective because most people understand exactly what the is going on. So if you're like in any way, shape, or form like actually progressive, you can't get away with this kind of sentiment. You can't be making light of victims of a genocide.
That's not DEI. That is a geopolitical adversary that is deliberately trying to divide the West against itself.
That view is not.
Yeah. Now, that in and of itself is not the end of that story. Okay. With respect to Van Jones, he also then turned around and said, "Yeah, I messed up on this one. Okay. And I'm sorry. I was trying to raise awareness about foreign adversaries creating chaos online, which is undermining democracy everywhere. But what I said was easily misunderstood, and the way I said it was flat out insensitive. Babies are dying every day in Gaza. Nobody should dispute that fact or make light of it in any way. To the people living in fear and burying family members every day of all ages, I apologize." Now, even in his apology, he's doubling down, claiming that it's not the actual dead children that is pissing people off and making people hate Israel because Israel is killing the children. It is the fact that Qatar and Iran is showing the dead children. That is the reason why people are pissed off at Israel. It's such a stupid position to arrive at. Like, because if you are to believe this position, you have to say, oh no, people would actually be totally fine with dead children. It's just like that Qatar is showing it. Qatar is actually in the wrong. Iran is actually in the wrong for showing people. If we were to take this premise at face value and assume it's correct, even though it obviously isn't, especially because it begs the question, if Iran is capable, if Qatar is capable of this kind of propaganda, why the are people not more pro-Iran in America, for example? They have this immensely sophisticated propaganda tool, and seemingly they're not using it to make people pro-Qatar and pro-Iran. How stupid of them to use this incredible network of propaganda that they have at their disposal and not use it for their own benefit. I guess the reason why, and by the way, that was the ContraPoints position too, which is so stupid. Hasbara points. But it makes it even sillier when you realize that, like, he said those things because Israel wants him to say those things, okay? Pro-Israel advocacy groups want people to think that the real issue here is not Israel's genocide, but the real anger towards Israel is actually a concerned effort from Qatar and Iran, a propaganda, okay? You know, Hasbara Point shit talks you on Blue Sky. She's so funny. Yeah. Why can't she do this on Twitter, I wonder? It's just interesting. Who cares? Anyway, and Adam Johnson also correctly points out, notice how this non-apology continues to promote the conspiracy theory Americans are outraged by Gaza because of foreign adversaries, just as mega billionaire and biggest private funder of the IDF, Larry Ellison, buys and controls the TikTok data and algorithm. As of July 2025, Israel had killed at least 18,500 children at least. Roughly 1,000 were under the age of 1. Roughly 1,000 more were between 1 and 2. The idea that you need a foreign adversary to generate outrage over this is both horribly glib and stupid. Van Jones, I wonder why so many Americans see dead Gaza babies on their social media timeline. Must be foreign adversaries. He is a stooge for corporate interests and whoever pays him, okay? It is not an accident that Van Jones got $100 million from Jeff Bezos. Okay, this isn't to say Jeff Bezos is super pro-Israel or whatever, but it is to simply show you that he is a corporate man. For those of you who don't know, he did literally get $100 million from Jeff Bezos straight up. No holds barred, no questions asked. Because he's a chill. And what's even more interesting is that back in the day, he used to be a Maoist third worldist. In 2003, and I didn't know this either, Van Jones recorded a rap album where he called for an end to the Israeli occupation and the right to return for Palestinian refugees. Nowadays, he makes fun of dead babies in Gaza for late-night TV laugh tracks. People don't know that he used to be a Maoist third worldist. When he was in the Obama administration, Republicans literally constantly talked about how he was a Maoist third worldist and how Obama had surrounded himself with radicals. Van Jones literally used to be once again, I'm going to say this, a Maoist third worldist, okay? And as Maoist third worldists often operate, I mean, he didn't exactly have a penchant for making rap beats or making music at all. This is not even him rapping at all. He's just simply talking about the situation of colonial occupation in Israel. Yeah, here.
Students can do that in 1970. Now, if students can do that in 1960, if students can do that in 1970, if students can do that in 1985 and 86, in 1993, when we have the United States government building a death camp, a concentration camp for black people who have done nothing wrong but get sick and want justice. That's all they've done wrong. If we can't close that death camp, if this generation cannot prevent another Japanese American internment in our lifetime, we should all get haircuts and go get regular jobs and give it up.
Seems like he got that haircut. What in the Fetterman? No, this is not. This is beyond Fetterman. He's just a grifter. A lot of people don't remember this. I've talked about this before. Kirsten Sinema also was she wasn't like a Maoist, but she did use like Maoist third worldist Maoist third worldist language when talking about America. Like she was a anarchist. Kirsten Sinema too. I'm not saying that. Yeah, she was a green anarchist. Jim Cramer. Oh yeah, Jim Cramer was a trot. That's another one. Van had his eyes opened by internal thought and a mere $100 million from Big Bezos to carry the corpo line that includes supporting Israel. How can you critique a man for selling his personal ideas for easy 9 figures? No, I mean, he already had that transformation from prior to the $100 million. He got the $100 million because he had already fully formed into this servile being for all corporate interests. Kirsten Sinema's anti-war activist passed under scrutiny as she runs for Senate. Sinema, a former Green Party spokeswoman in Arizona who at the age of 25 in 2001 and 2002 ran and lost race for local office as an independent. She had moved to Arizona in 1995 and worked as a social worker. When George W. Bush was elected president, Sinema quickly began to make a name for herself in the Senate in the state with left-wing activism. In the run-up to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, Sinema, then a law student at Arizona State University, was a frequent organizer of anti-war rallies, organizing 15 by the start of the Iraq War. Sinema would later boast on a progressive message board in 2006 of her opposition to Afghanistan from the start and continued opposition, saying she opposed war in all forms. Her biggest anti-war event was a February 15, 2003 protest in Patriot Square Park in Phoenix. Flyers, as first reported by CNN's K-File, distributed by an anti-war group led to Sinema, depicted a U.S. soldier as a menacing skeleton, inflicting U.S. terror in Iraq and the Middle East. In her activism for that event, Sinema was willing to work with all groups, including a local anarchist group that helped organize the rally. Appearing on the radio show of local libertarian activist Ernest Hancock a day before the event, Sinema said, "Libertarians, Democrats, Republicans, Greens, Independents, Anarchists, Socialists, Communists, whoever wants to come, they're all welcome." Later, Sinema and Hancock discussed their political views when Hancock taking up the libertarian argument against intervention and raising as a hypothetical against Sinema's worldview if she would oppose him joining the Taliban army. Now, you would say, maybe we do owe something to the world as long as it's nice and sweet and peaceful. And what you want to do, Hancock said to Sinema on his show, declare your independence with Ernest Hancock. Well, it's not so much of a candy cane kind of theory as you're making it stand out, Sinema responded. But I do think that those of us who are privileged to have more do owe something to others. By force, Hancock asked. By me as an individual. If I want to go fight in the Taliban army, I go over there and I'm fighting for the Taliban. I'm saying that's a personal decision. Fine, Sinema interjected. I don't care if you want to go do that. Go ahead. Am I losing my internet again? Is that what's going on? Did I lose internet again? Okay. Oh, all right. Well, my chat went out for a second. Okay. Ties to the far left. But that's Kirsten Sinema. Let's take a look at how the Fox News guys were presenting Van Jones's past
The question we're asking for this segment, should he stay or should he go? Controversy growing this morning over Van Jones. That's the president's green jobs
Same asshole, by the way, still at Fox News.
star. He works in the West Wing of the White House. Here's a look about what all the stir is about. Jones at one time was a self-proclaimed communist. There's a videotape that surfaced from a few months ago using a vulgar word for Republicans. He also said at one point white polluters are poisoning minority communities. And now there are claims he signed a petition saying the Bush administration knew about the attacks of 9/11 before they happened. I want to bring in Bob Beckel, professor of advanced political studies at George Washington University and a Fox News.
Van Jones worked in the White House? Yes. Under the Obama administration? Yes. I wonder what the slur was that he used when talking about Republicans.
Contributor, how you doing, Bob? Good morning to you.
You too.
All right, Andrea Tantaris, Republican consultant, FoxNews.com contributor. Andrea, good morning to you as well.
Morning, Bill.
Boy, I don't know what we're involved in this. I don't know what we're stirring up here today, or what's going to happen as a result of everything that's come out over the past several days with Van Jones. But Bob, answer the song of the Clash.
What? Cracker? Is that what he called Republicans?
Should he stay or should he go?
Oh, well, there's no doubt he should go. I mean, he'll be applying for unemployment come Tuesday morning, but that's not the point. There's a bigger question here, and that is the vetting process here. How did he get through this? And this is not just the White House Obama team vetting. You know, I've been in the White House before. I've been vetted, but by the Secret Service. They're the ones who go through your background checks and the rest of it. And for somebody who's a self-proclaimed communist, if all these things are true that he said in the past, I'm surprised, frankly, that he was given a White House pass, A, and B.
Oh, he just called them assholes. Van Jones' asshole remark inappropriate. Obama Green Jobs advisor Van Jones is apologizing for calling Republicans a-holes a month before joining the White House staff in March 2009. His office just sent over the statement from him. These comments made before I joined the administration were clearly inappropriate, and I apologize for the offensive words I chose to use during that speech. They do not reflect the views of this administration, which has made every effort to work in a bipartisan fashion, and they do not reflect the experience I have had since I joined the administration. Also, I mean, this is 2009. Think about how different politics is now. Like, he almost got shafted for calling Republicans assholes in 2008.
On the comment about the Republicans, I mean, truth in lending, I've used that word myself, but with a couple of adjectives in front of it referring to Republicans, so I don't think that's a big deal.
So you might excuse that, but the other stuff, you're not giving him a pass, are you, Bob?
No, I'm not going to give him. How can you give him a pass? I mean,
Andrea, why is he still around?
Wait, Bob's never used that word to just...
Yeah, this guy is also trying to fake defend. Fox News always used to do this where they would have like one panelist that's like fake liberal, really heightening their like liberal credentials, who then also would suspiciously agree to the reactionary position. And you can basically tell because Bob over here straight up said, because, you know, Van Jones, black, would be filing for unemployment by Tuesday. You know how those blacks do, you know, that type of shit.
Describe me, right?
Only off.
Of course
you
not.
All other
absolutely
Republicans.
not.
Oh, I thought so. I figured as much. No, I agree. Look, this guy has got to go. Put aside his very obvious political affiliations, his racism, the fact that he was arrested, his ties to the socialist group Storm. Look, Bill, on a day when unemployment is at 9.7%, this guy is tasked with bringing in more green jobs. And he...
Yeah. Alan Combs is a great example of this, who just basically had to be the fake liberal on the Hannity and Combs broadcast for so long that it may or may not have given him cancer that ended up killing him. He died due to cancer, straight up.
He's not doing that. And his potty mouth is talking about everything else. And I think this is an opportunity for Obama. I mean, everybody's asking, Obama, where are you? We hear crickets from the White House. This guy promised an era of bipartisanship, of working together with Republicans. He said he'd put an end to this divisive talk. I wonder if Obama has the guts to get rid of this guy.
Well, we've heard from the White House already with regard to the 9/11 document that apparently he signed in 2004. The White House says he did not carefully review that document before he signed it. That group, by the way, says
that's always good.
They contacted everybody. No one's name was on the list that did not want to be on there. Here is Van Jones's latest statement. If I have offended anyone with statements I made in the past, I apologize. As for the petition that was circulated today regarding the 9/11 investigation, I do not agree with this statement, and it certainly does not reflect my views now or ever. Back to Bob's issue, Andrea, about vetting.
Yeah.
How does someone like this get through?
The one thing that is unchanging, even though like you look back at this blast from the past and you're like, wow, like these things were brought up as controversies. The one thing that is unchanging from back then and still exists to this day is Republicans whipping up fake hysteria and manufacturing outrage. Okay? They have never stopped with their cancel culture. They've never stopped with their cancel culture. They still do it to this day. Straight up. And as time has passed, I feel as though Democrats have found in their hearts to capitulate to the manufactured hysteria as time has changed, as their attempts at cancel culture have seen even more victories.
True.
Well, look, Bill, look at the last cabinet appointees that we've seen, from Tom Daschle to Bill Richardson at the highest levels. I mean, these guys were, in the Senate and former governors. The Obama administration's vetting process has massive holes in that. And we know there's no secret there. This is the problem, though, with these czars, because Congress doesn't get to look at them either. So Barack Obama can name all different czars to these positions. I can't even keep up with how many czars we have. But I would say that now we have to look.
They also did get him to eventually. Resign. Van Jones did resign from the Obama admin. The other thing that they also pushed for pretty aggressively was the separation between Obama and his pastor Jeremiah Wright. This is actually a drama channel. You are not going to make me learn the history of Van Jones. I mean, this isn't a drama channel. This is talking about like larger media patterns and the ways in which Republicans and reactionary forces in general actively will manufacture outrage. I'm going back to a different history, a different time where, things were even more innocuous statements were considered unacceptable. But they did get a scalp off of that. Yeah, Glenn Beck gets his first scalp. Van Jones resigns. The reason why I'm talking about this, of course, is because Van Jones's past behavior was used against him, and over time, he became more and more pliant because he didn't have any sort of real convictions at all. And what convictions he may have had, he obviously cast aside for a buck. And now you got a dude who used to talk about Israel's apartheid, 54 years of occupation at the time, 75 years or 77 years into the future, he's now joking about dead babies, dead Gaza babies. How did that happen?